All right, we are live, Barstool Units, episode 55. I'm Coach Duggs. With me, as always, Frank the Tank Fleming. Frank, how you doing?
All right. I see that you have a new look. I guess we had a shave in the city.
Yeah, it's you gotta take a step back to take a step forward, and
Uh,
it was about that time.
I do notice that you got the shave, you got the haircut, and it costs a lot more than 2 bits.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely the most I've ever paid for a haircut. Decided, but I knew going into it was going to cost a good amount of money. Um, It was actually pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. He asked if he wanted, he buzzed my head while he was at it and everything. Um, it was $60, which is the most I've ever paid for, a haircut. But it was, it was a straight shave. It wasn't as close as I expected it to be, but it was a pretty nice experience.
I mean, um, in the old days, like I said, it was like 2 bits. You know what 2 bits is, right?
Yeah, it's two pieces of coin.
Yeah. And of course, it's a lot more now. But I was actually shocked because I have not paid for a haircut in 20 plus years now.
Yeah, I need
And
to.
buzz
Yeah, I need to get one of those buzzers for the head, like the kind he used. He used it's kind of like the razors that guys use on their beards, like the travel razors, but it's industrial quality or whatever. Um, I need to get one of those because right now I'm using just a regular mock razor or whatever, and sometimes you get little nicks, and it's not fun. But
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
yeah, now. Again, who knows? Maybe one day I still have not a full head of hair, but like 3/4 of a full head of hair. Like besides two little spots like right here, it comes in pretty nice, especially on the back, like the horseshoe. I've got the back's all there. Who knows? In 10 years, who knows what the science will be like? Who knows what the technology will be like? Maybe I'll get some plugs. Who knows?
That doesn't look like something that's too fun. So I'm just gonna enjoy the buzz cuts every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and
not gonna worry.
that's the beauty of it. People. Well, I'm sure you get it all the time, or sometimes there's young guys who are losing their hair at an earlier age than they expected or did not expect at all, and there's always hesitation. There's always that moment where they don't want to shave their head, but it's getting to the point where just go ahead and take that step. You're going to save a lot of money, and nobody really cares. Truly, nobody cares.
Nobody really does care. I mean, it's not like we're gonna go out and try a new hair metal band or something like that.
Yeah,
And besides which, I bet you half those guys were wearing rigs anyway.
yeah, absolutely. And just think of the bald guys. Do you really think they're not able to go out and get women or make big deals or drive a Range Rover or make bank? You can do all those things with a bald head.
Yes, yes. George Costanza didn't realize that just around the corner was the age of the bald man.
Yeah, he may have been a pioneer for us. He was 29. I don't think a lot of people. He was 29 at that time. I don't think a lot of people would expect him to be 29.
Yeah, when Seinfeld began, he is fairly young. I did. He's actually from Livingston, New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, there you go.
And I think and I know people from Livingston, not the people that you know, but people you knew from the courthouse who knew him. And I think he might have been a little older than 29 when he was in Seinfeld first, but he definitely was a lot younger than you would expect.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he was Livingston class of like 1977, 1978.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably put him at like 30, 31.
Yeah.
when Seinfeld.
Yeah, late 20s, early 30s. And it wasn't just some balding. I mean, he had a pretty good bald patch.
There was just a commercial from around 1986 when from McDonald's that he did.
Yeah. I was too young for that. I was not alive when that came out. But I've seen the commercial. I think it's a funny commercial. I don't get veggies on my burgers, so it's something that I've never thought about. But yeah, what he was advertising, they would put all the hot stuff on one side, and they'd put the veggies like the lettuce and tomato and onions and pickles and whatnot on the right side. So that way, when you get home, not when you eat it there, not when you are eating it in your car while you're going to pick up your kid. When you get home with your McDonald's, then you can put it together and have a fresh hamburger.
Yeah, those are the days of the old styrofoam McDonald's, and more and more places are banning styrofoam containers now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably the number one styrofoam container. It's probably the number one issue. After straws, styrofoam containers number 2, straws number 1.
New Jersey, you only have 6 more weeks to get plastic bags, and then if you're on your own, you have to start using canvas bags.
Yeah, I guess they're just going to sell canvas bags at the front of the store.
Well, they do now.
They do now. Okay. Well, I mean, I know. See, here's the thing: they do that in Florida, but you can also get paper or plastic bags.
Yeah, well, that's because Florida's a free state.
That's actually the barber we went to. We took a little bit of walk. The barber was off of it's between 6th and 7th Avenue on like 26th Street, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah. And so it was a bit of a walk, but yeah, he asked me, he goes, "Oh, like where are you coming from?" And I said, "Florida." And he said, "You mean, no, wait, what?" It kind of surprised me. He's like, "No, everyone is moving to Florida." And I said, "Listen, I got a certain job offer I couldn't refuse."
Yeah, well, the
only one.
Consider it a 18-for-1 trade.
Yeah. I still have my house down there and everything, but who knows how long I'll be up here? As long as Barstool's in New York, and as long as I'm with Barstool.
Yep, and of course we got trips coming up, and with spring training games started, we got to start looking at what places we're going to be going this summer for baseball games, major league and minor league.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it. I mean, I'm glad there's baseball season, obviously, just for the fact that there's going to be baseball. But also we're going to be traveling. We're going to be hitting up minor league games, and we got to continue the major league tour. We actually, when you think about it, we hit quite a few last year. I think we hit 7 or 8 maybe major ballparks.
And I think the stars are aligning perfectly for us to watch the Mets open the season in Washington.
Nice. Now,
gotta do some raw dogging down in Washington too. You figure, I've always wanted to go to a weekend series in Washington, and did it so you could watch baseball. Well, the first game will be a day game, and Sunday be a game. I think the other ones are night games, and you could explore Washington by day and baseball by night.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty fun time. Have you ever been to Washington?
I was in Washington in 1989. I spent a day trip to Washington.
Gotcha. I went, Washington would have been the 7th grade field trip. And so I went to Washington 7th grade. We took the bus up from Florida, and it was what a middle school field trip would have been. And I also went. I've been back a couple of times to see friends and stuff, but I've never actually been to Washington.
So you went. So they basically had a bus full of 12 and 13-year-olds going from Jacksonville, Florida, to Washington, D.C.
You know what yes, pretty much. And I just remembered why we went. Why it was in January. We went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So we went to there. We went to where are the documents housed?
Are they at the Library of Congress?
Is that it? Where the Declaration of Independence and all that is?
I think it might be there.
Yeah.
Well,
so
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, whatever that building is, we went there. It was still there. National Treasure had not come out yet. But the main reason we were there is I saw George Bush get inaugurated.
Wow.
So that would have been 2000, January 2001.
I feel sorry for the teachers who were chaperoning you. I feel sorry for the bus driver. This ain't nothing worse than a bus full of 7th graders.
No, I would never. It's one of those the adults that like hate kids, and it's like I really don't. Sometimes you're like, I don't understand that. How can you hate how can you hate kids? But then you think back and you're like, there are definitely age groups that I would not want to. I just don't want to deal with. If I don't have to. Yeah, you have to be a crazy person or a very nice person to be a chaperone on that kind of field trip.
I mean, I don't think there's anything worse than that age group. That is where the kids actually become mean, and they don't know how to control the meanness.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not even their fault. Like you can't. It's not even like, oh, I hate these kids. They're so mean. It's like, no, like I went through that too. They got hormones going through them.
That like 11, that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe even 15-year-old range is just like, you'll have some nice kids, but then you have some kids who are just monsters.
Yeah. And, hopefully, they age out of it, but yeah, it was a fun field trip. So I'm looking forward to going back. Like I said, we didn't really do much other than that. Haven't seen the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial, or the Washington Monument, or anything like that. So if we get a chance to go, that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, we just gotta probably finalize, but I think we're gonna be able to pull this off.
All right, I'm all about it.
Check out the Smithsonian too.
Yep. No. Yeah. Exactly. I'm all about it. Listen, if we can, we're traveling, we're watching sports, we're going to be doing a heck of a lot of walking.
I remember in '89, I was with Abe's father when I went to Washington, and the big thing he wanted to check out was the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cool museum. They actually have the Spirit of St. Louis there.
Yeah. Is that the plane that got shot down or got shot so many times?
No, that's just the Charles Lindbergh, the first intercontinental flight from New York to France.
Hold on, New York to France?
Yes.
How'd they get it back over here?
Boat.
That's pretty cool. We'll have to check all that out. It's going to be a lot of walking, Frank. And I tell you what, I appreciate our unit walks in the city. My ankles, I'm going to need to stretch. I'm going to need to stretch for like a week or two before we head out there.
Well, that's why we're going to start doing these unit walks every fucking day. I'm 99% sure it's plantar fasciitis. Just imagine your tendons, in your ankles that are just like, your Achilles heel, or Achilles tendon. Just imagine that, and it's just tight, and it's so tight on both when I'm walking, I'm trying not to like lift my feet. I'm trying just to like lift my leg and then push forward because it's tight. And in my head, I'm thinking it's gonna pop. One of the things I like doing is going, taking a subway someplace and walking around over there. I think that might be a one we do if the weather's nice tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm absolutely down for that. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that just aren't going to be accessible from the office. But we should definitely go to check out Central Park. What's the what's the fountain that's in all the movies? It was in Home Alone 2. It was in John Wick. Is there like it's a fountain in Central Park where there has there's staircases that go up to a road, but then you can also go underneath the road?
I'm not sure about that one. I know there's a good fountain in Lincoln Center.
Okay, maybe it's Lincoln Center. It's a huge fountain.
I don't know of any fountains in Central Park off the top of my head.
Okay, maybe it's not Central Park.
I do know Lincoln Center, which is definitely, that was actually the place I was thinking about maybe going to tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. Well, and we're going to be doing a lot of new to New York stuff. I am new to New York, and I want to do a lot of stuff like that, checking out New York specific things. And I don't want to be seen as a tourist, but I want to do some touristy things. And so I'd like to, hit up a double decker bus and just go. I want the experience that a tourist would get without having to deal with what the tourists have to deal with.
That sounds fun.
So I want to do the bus. I want to do the ferry, check out the Statue of Liberty. I've been to Ellis Island. When I came to New York in 2002, I was supposed to come in October of 2001. Something happened, and they pushed that back from 2001 to April of 2002. But when we came up in 2002, half the stuff was still shut down.
Understandable. Statue of Liberty, that's a good trip. You could actually get to Statue of Liberty through Jersey City.
Yeah, is the Statue of Liberty in New York or in New Jersey?
It's in New Jersey. They stole it from us. Those islands belong to New Jersey, as does Staten Island. They're closer to the Jersey border, and fucking New York, like they always do, steals things from us.
I was looking on Google Maps. The water, where the state line is in the water, it has the Statue of Liberty in New Jersey water.
It is. It's New Jersey waters.
But the island itself is New York City. Or New York.
Yes.
But it's in New Jersey water.
Yeah. Those were just basically just islands in the middle of nowhere, just off the Jersey coastline. That, let's build a statue. Okay, we'll put a statue there. This is New York.
Yeah. It is facing away.
Those islands belong to New Jersey, even if the Statue of Liberty is sticking her ass at us.
Yeah, I was going to say it is facing away from New Jersey. I guess you could say so. Some parts of New Jersey there's island boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Whatever happened? I wonder what happened to those guys.
People got sick of them, and I guess they vanished. Of course, they committed career suicide by snubbing Marty.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows they're never going to work in this. They're never going to work in this field again.
So they snubbed Marty, and basically, that was their last gasp of freedom. Gone, dead, over.
That was around. I think because they were in New York City, they were supposed to come on. They didn't. They actually went on somebody else's podcast, I think, or was that somebody else? And then
no, that was them. That was them.
They got booed off.
They had about 5 viewers.
Yeah, and I think they got booed off stage that night or the next night. But God bless them. God bless them.
Island boys will soon be back working at McDonald's. Island boys, we don't have any discernible skills or any discernible talent. We're island boys.
Hey, McDonald's pays $15 an hour up here.
It's paying more now.
Yeah, we left Wawa, and I think Wawa was paying I want to say $18.25, starting out. That's crazy to me. That just in my head, I'm like, that's wild. But hey,
it's insane.
It's needed. Nobody wants to work,
especially with the And now you had the prices of gas going up. So
Yeah. Kim K needs to, she really needs to talk to more people, get off your ass and work, that's what Kim K says. But no, I'm excited. Yeah. We'll be traveling, doing a lot of stuff. Baseball's back. News today. Baseball is back. The Mets and Yankees might not be though. So Eric Adams.
Eric Adams is a blight on the city of New York. And the pandemics are just going crazy.
Now, so yeah, Mayor Adams came out today. Or Eric, I'll call him Eric. I do. We'll put that aside for Kevin. Kevin Durant called him Eric, and I loved it. But yeah, so he came out. Eric came out and pretty much said, I'm not going to let the baseball schedule interfere with my mandates. So it doesn't matter that baseball starts in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
I mean, these players last year were allowed to play.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everywhere else, restrictions are loosening, except in New York, they're tightening up.
Yeah. So the question would be: we keep asking, why can't Kyrie play when visiting players can? I guess the question we might be able to shift it and ask the question: why are the visiting players allowed to play?
That's what I don't get. Because he says he doesn't want to make special compensation for New York athletes. Well, right now you're punishing, you're singling them out, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that they fired over a whole bunch of police and firemen.
Okay, now, and this is I'm not familiar with this. I've heard this a couple of times. People have said this, that basically, if they cut the mandate and allow Kyrie to play, or allow the Yankees and Mets players that aren't vaccinated to play, then that gives good legal ground to fired New York City employees who were just recently fired, like 1,000 of them. Do you have more information on that?
Yeah, but it's private sector, public sector. So as the public sector, Eric Adams can fire anyone he wants. Now, they're gonna be sued, and eventually, these employees are gonna win.
Now, why do you think that? What is the situation? So, we're talking about city employees, public employees,
yes,
who were fired because they didn't get the vaccine.
Right.
Gotcha. And so, at least 1,000. I've heard different numbers. At least 1,000, thousands.
It's a significant amount. It's at least 1,000. I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
But
so they were fired because they work for the city, they didn't get the vaccine, and because there is a mandate that in order to work, you have to be vaccinated in New York City.
Yes.
Because they're not vaccinated, they can't work, and so therefore they were fired.
Yeah.
And so if they leave the mandate off now, or if they retract the mandate, you're looking at least 1,000 city employees who were just terminated recently for not getting the vaccine.
Yeah. They're gonna win.
But I mean, I'm just from a legal perspective,
sanity is going to prevail.
It's the New York City court system. Is the New York City court system separate from New York City? Like, I mean, is it I don't think the two are that separate. I don't think you can say, oh, well, at least in the court of law, it's still New York City, right?
And a lot of people, I'm trying to see if I can find the number, but this was something that was set in stone, was set by de Blasio, who really hated sports. De Blasio, if he wanted to, would have had no sports in New York.
Yeah.
And Eric Adams basically has now become like his errand boy, his puppet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions to be asked about it. one, they said, follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. Well, I haven't heard too many reasons. They keep saying we're going to keep the mandate in place, but they're not saying for what reasons. They're not. They're not citing numbers of cases.
Well, it's no longer health and safety protocols, because if a visiting player can come in unvaccinated, if you can go attend the games without proving proof of vaccination, so Kyrie Irving can get in the games and sit in the stands. He can't go to the locker room. He can't be on the court, but he can sit in the stands unvaccinated. Players from opposing teams can play unvaccinated. When you do that, you throw out all logic and all sense, and you make it just like I'm Eric Adams. I hate New York sports. I love LA. Boom, and he's going to stick it to the New York teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the thing is, when you're talking about whether it's logical or not, or whether it makes sense, is a judge going to say this mandate didn't make sense and it was not equally applied to everyone, therefore I'm throwing it out, and anyone who was affected can seek, to be whole? Or are they going to say it doesn't matter that the mandate was unequal or that it impacted people differently? It was still a mandate, therefore it was still legal until somebody says it's not, and so anybody impacted is shit out of luck.
Well, that's going to be the question. What's going to eventually happen is it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And that's where these governments are going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cases that go to the Supreme Court take years and years. So
yeah, well, it might take years and years. Sandy's going to prevail one of these days. And now you have Fauci talking about this could be a pandemic that we might have to wear masks permanently. And of course, it's like the people in the bar jumping up and down. That's the pandemic.
Yeah,
it's like they root for every new strain. And now they're talking about the South Omicron strain where you don't get the sniffles, you don't get a cold, you don't feel sick, but you have the virus. If you don't feel sick, if you are not sick, if you don't have a cold, if you only have the virus and are only carrying the virus, and the virus is not affecting you in any way, that means the virus is not harmful anymore. If you don't know you have the virus, if you're not sick by the virus, then isn't that what we wanted?
Yeah. Where the virus has become cooties, where you're simply saying, or it doesn't actually exist. You're just saying you don't want it. I've said it before. I'll say it, and then we'll end it on this. We'll end this topic on this one. But if we can agree that, and I don't even know if it's the right term to call it a vaccine, but let's say you get the jab, the COVID vaccine. If you get the vaccine, if we can agree on these two things, one, it doesn't prevent you from getting it, and two, it doesn't prevent you from spreading it. And we can agree on those two items, then at that point, getting vaccinated is purely a personal choice. If those two first things are true, if you can still get it and you can still transmit it, then whether you get it or not is a personal choice. Still mandating it, we have a problem.
And the people that just want the mask on, I don't feel safe without mask mandates. Well, the mask mandate is gone. There's no rule that says you can't wear a mask.
Yes. Yeah, if you don't feel safe without a mask, you don't go outside without a mask.
Wear a mask.
Again, we're talking about personal choices. You can wear a mask if you want to. You can leave my friends behind.
But
Because if my friends don't wear masks, they're not friends of mine.
I mean, the fact that last year,
can I get a little safety dance? All right. Yeah, it's crazy, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know if it's me being from Florida or new to Jersey, or my sufficient legal background, but I just don't. I've seen courts hold up stupid laws before, and so the idea that because a mandate is not logical.
Yeah, that is true because after all, judges are political appointees, so they know where their bread is buttered.
Yeah, it's a system. It's sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but
there's no, but it's just ridiculous. The fact that
what's going to happen?
I think the Mets and the Yankees are going to have the seasons affected greatly, and it'll be the only one, just like the Brooklyn Nets will be only one. Well, the Raptors too, but
do you think they're not going to play the vaccinated players? Do you think the MLB is going to bow down to Eric Adams?
He is the Lord.
What would happen? Has Eric Adams stated if they play, this will happen?
Yeah, they'll be fine.
I mean, if that's it, fine him.
But in the NBA, Adam Silver says, "We will vehemently back any law. More laws. We need more laws." Signs everywhere. The signs blocking out the scenery and changing my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? Sign says you got to be a mask to enter. What is funny is that was a protest song 50 years ago. Signs everywhere. The signs, and one of the things what gives you the sign says trespassers would be shot on sight. And I said, hey man, what gives you the right to put up fences and keep everyone out of the land that should be everyone's?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question.
Those people who 50 years ago were protesting, singing signs everywhere, the signs. The people with long hair need not apply. Are now the people in charge and putting up more signs than there's ever been signed before. And it's just incredible.
I will say this.
We're going to prevent fascism by being fascist.
Yay. The group of people that were out of the courthouse singing, we talked about them before, I think on last week's episode.
Pandemics.
There is a certain portion of the population that will have genuine mental illnesses. There are certain certain percentage population that are hypochondriacs. There's a certain percentage population that are just bad people or have control issues. There are so many different people that have issues. The idea that, this many people still agree with something, or they could legitimately just be crazy people. Just crazy people. And I mean that in the most loving way, in the most sincere, they should probably be on lithium in that kind of way.
There are certain people that basically that basically have enjoyed the last 2 years.
Yes, and there's a lot of people that have maybe they don't have actual power, but they now have an opportunity to where they see how they can possibly control other people, and they've gotten a taste of it. It's the people they've gotten a taste of it, and they're afraid to lose that. They maybe never had it before, and they think if these mask mandates go away, how can there's people that go out in the world looking for things to be mad about. If these mask mandates, how can I tell people what to do and feel superior?
And half of those people actually work in the Prudential Center.
I'm glad you brought that up, Frank. I wasn't going to bring it up, but there's a big NHL game tomorrow night. I've been sitting next to you, cheering on the Devils all season long, and I don't want to say it's been a burden. It hasn't been a burden. I've enjoyed the time. I've enjoyed the games.
The season has sucked.
I don't even want to say the season has sucked because the season implies that it's just the team losing. Listen, I'm a Jaguars fan.
No.
I can deal with the team losing.
They're a building team that has not quite that hasn't gelled as quick as possible. That's
even better. That means I can accept that even. I can accept that even more.
The power play's been terrible.
Yes.
They've had flashes where they beat the Colorado Avalanche, but then there's been times where they just look trash. So yeah, that's not the issue. That's not the issue.
The issue is not losing games. The issue has been. Go ahead.
The Prudential Center, half the concession stands are closed. The concession stands food is terrible. Mm-hmm. The ticket takers act like you're invading their personal space and disturbing them at their home when when you're going through security.
That might be the most ridiculous part about it, especially because they're the first ones you see, and they are so annoyed.
There's no joy. There's no welcoming. It's yelling at you and screaming at you.
Yeah, and
we've been to dozens of ballparks, dozens of arenas, where there's a certain amount of security.
Yes,
take your wallet out.
It's not an issue.
But only at the Prudential Center do I feel just like I begin to feel anxiety going through security at the Prudential Center.
Yeah,
it's how nasty they are.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole thing. It's not even that there's security. I appreciate security. I appreciate, we got to walk through metal detector, whatever.
Yeah,
but it's
and we go through that. We go through that everywhere.
It's an attitude.
It's only at the Prudential Center do I feel that anxiety.
Yeah,
it's just like they're just so nasty.
Yeah, and they tell you not to hold up the line. But then they stop you in front of the metal detector and say, "Oh, you have to do this." It's like, all right, well, you want me to not hold up the line, or what do you want me to do? They don't know what's going on. That's the first line that you go to when you're entering Prudential Center. If it starts out that bad and it doesn't get much better than that, the ushers are nice. The ushers are nice. The 50-50 raffle people are nice. The concession stand people are even, nice.
Even the problem with the concession stand is that they're just not all open, and the food sucks. And it's not their fault the food sucks. The people who the bosses pick the food.
Yeah,
the bosses tell them how to cook the food. It's not the people who there. It's not that. No,
it's $18 chicken tenders, and they're not even that good. It's like. And maybe that's just maybe that's me getting used to New York prices, but yeah, it hasn't been the team. In fact, you actually set up pretty good expectations entering the season. You said, "Hey, listen, they're a young team. They're building. They're probably going to be good in 2 or 3 years. I don't expect them to make the playoffs." You set great expectations for me. I've enjoyed going to the games because I'm going there with you. We're watching the Devils play. There's been some great games, a lot of not so great games, but the entire experience itself, not even mentioning the PA announcer and having to hear that voice every time, the experience just has not been good. I'm surprised you have season tickets. I'm surprised you don't do like a 20 game plan or whatever and just go to the games that you want to, where there's bobbleheads or whatnot.
Yeah, there's times where this year it's felt like a burden.
Yeah. But tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, it's a Rangers game.
It's a Rangers game. Now, I've been speaking somewhat candidly with, some people in the office and other people outside the office, who happen to be New York Rangers fans. And they've mentioned a few things to me about their experience going to Rangers games. And they haven't sounded so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the guy at the PA and the game day experience isn't great at the Devils. They took us down into this room where I felt felt like hostage.
It did feel like that somewhat. Like, take a seat. Seat.
And it's a perk for season ticket holders. They have like these gatherings, meet and greets, and they do it. I guess they grab different season ticket holders every time. Well, they don't have enough chairs down there. They don't have enough tables down there. The food is awful. It's not even any better than the food you get elsewhere. And I could tell from experience, it's the same food that they bring up to the luxury boxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, whoever has the concessions contract needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
At the Prudential Center. That's one thing that needs to be done. Secondly, whoever is in charge of the in-game entertainment needs to be replaced. The music's at an uncomfortable volume at times.
And you can tell they are aware of it, because at least 3 or 4 times during the game, something will start very high and immediately go lower to where like they realize, oh, that's too loud.
The PA announcer, we've talked about this on infinitum. He is awful.
He's a screamer. He's a screamer.
And it's his first year. He had another guy last year that was pretty good. There's rumors why he was replaced. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that. But the new guy, they actually held a contest and open tryouts, and this guy somehow won. And he's awful. And he's actually gotten worse as the year's gone on, because he screams more now than he did early in the season.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily screaming.
When I think of good announcer, you remember the mouse from Space Jam?
Yes.
That's what I think a great announcer. Just a deep, bellowing voice, not screaming.
I mean, this guy's got a nasally, high-pitched voice, which is the exact opposite of what you want on a PA announcer.
Yeah. With all that being said, I will be going tomorrow night to the game. And, I'll be there cheering on, hockey. I want to see good hockey.
And here's another thing.
Here's
another thing that's problematic. Of course, every team does entertainment during breaks. The Devils is almost like insulting your intelligence. It's so fixed.
Yeah. It's, they're giving away prizes. But yeah, so that's that. That's all I'll say on the matter. Tomorrow night, Rangers at Devils. I am looking forward to a great hockey game.
Yep. Hopefully, Devils actually show up.
Yeah. Well, I think if Dawes is in the net, I have positive feelings for it if Dawes is in the net.
Well, hopefully, Hammond is around, so Gillies can go fly a kite.
Well, speaking of flying a kite in the NHL, the trade deadline passed, or it has now passed, right?
It has passed. Yes, it has.
Did the Devils acquire anyone, or get rid of anyone, or trade anybody?
The only thing they did is they got another backup goalie.
Another backup for Dawes?
Yeah. Well, sort of. You might see Hammond get a lot of playing time because they don't want to overplay Dawes because you don't want to burn a rookie out when you don't have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
You rather ideally have Dawes play maybe a couple games a week. You don't want him. I mean,
you don't want a starter.
You don't want him playing too much.
Yeah.
And Hammond actually is a goalie with a pulse. He's not signed. He's a free agent at the end of the year. They just traded a mid-level prospect from Utica, someone who is probably going to spend a lot of his career in the AHL. And Andrew Hammond once had a good run in the NHL when he was at with the Senators not too long ago. He had 1 year where he had like a stretch of like 3 straight shutouts, and it was just when he first came up. And he's had some good moments. He's had some good years, but he's a career backup goalie who's basically spent a couple of years in the AHL recently too. So he's not going to be a guy that you don't want to see too often, but at least he's better than Gillies. Gillies can't stop anything.
Yeah. Where did we get this goalie from?
Montreal.
Well, so those are NHL moves. NFL moves. Quarterbacks are taking some moves this offseason.
Yeah. We have the quarterback carousel. You have the coaching carousel. I've never seen a quarterback carousel quite like this one. I mean, you knew Deshaun Watson was going to move, but to move to Cleveland, which forced Baker Mayfield out. Now Baker Mayfield's looking for his landing spot. Meanwhile, the Carson Wentz, who was awful, the Indianapolis Colts said, when the Washington section were going, yes! We got something for him. Yay! They're high-fiving the office. And then meanwhile, they only traded third rounder for Matt Ryan. And the Atlanta Falcons, what are you doing? And now you signed Marcus Mariota? Meanwhile, Russell Wilson going from Seattle to Denver is just stunning. I mean, and Pete Carroll's really going to coach this team? A team that looks like, right now on paper, looks like a team that's going to lose at least 15 games next year.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride. And I mean, I feel like this is the most QB activity I've seen in the offseason before.
Yeah, I've never seen it like this.
It really is, like you said, it's a carousel.
Meanwhile, it's a carousel, but the circus is in Jacksonville.
Well, the circus was in Jacksonville. I'll say the circus still is in Jacksonville because Shad Khan still owes the team.
I mean, there's the guy that's the Carnival Barker. I mean, someone should have when Urban Meyer said, "Wow, that guy number 99, he's pretty good, isn't he?"
Yeah, and I'm torn on this matter because part of me says, yeah, no duh. Like the guy was coming in, he was a retired college football coach. He had been retired for years, and for some reason, everybody wanted him in the NFL. And then, turns out this guy who's been a retired coach who only coached in college now is all of a sudden expected to know all these NFL players. I mean, Aaron Donald? I mean, who is that guy? Everybody, he's all automatically supposed to know. At the same time,
you realize if all this shit didn't come out about him, the kicking the kicker, the berating of assistants,
he would still be the coach.
Yeah, because Shad Khan doesn't want to go through the process of hiring somebody.
No, I'm telling you right now, I would probably say government job working for Shad Khan. Those are probably the two jobs you will never get fired from. You might get transferred, you might get demoted to here, you might get moved over here. You're not getting fired. And it's not because Shad Khan doesn't want to fire you. It's because he doesn't want to rehire anyone else. He doesn't want to hire anyone to take your place. And he said that from his super yacht in the Cayman Islands. Like I'm tired of owners who have a bunch of money and only own a sport team, like a major sports franchise, for the clout it brings, just so they can say, I own a major sports team.
Ding, 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 ding. Succession.
I hate it, Frank. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Look at the Dolphins owner. He's more concerned about Michigan football than he is the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, that's like a clear conflict of interest.
The NFL has to. I hope there's proof, and I hope that the NFL forces him. Because you know what? You remember they were talking about Jim Harbaugh about to coach the Vikings, and
yeah, he went to Minnesota. He flew to Minnesota. He thought he had the job.
Yeah, Ross called him under the pretense of a Dolphins job, and supposedly threw more money, booster money at Michigan. And Stephen Ross basically says that he cares more about Michigan football than the Miami Dolphins team he owns.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the worst owners in the NFL. I mean, Daniel Snyder for just being a just total.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to bite. I don't know if anyone's going to beat him.
But in terms of just being bad owners, period, I don't think there's anyone worse than Ross and Khan.
No, and maybe it's just because we're not too familiar with other ownership groups. If you're a fan of another team and your owner sucks, leave it in the comments. Let us know. Tell us why your team owner sucks so much.
The Jets owner is pretty bad too.
There you go.
Then again, the Jets ownership is had a kind of a weird stretch, and the Steelers went through a similar stretch, but it didn't affect them yesterday. They're just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
But the Jets owner had a 4-year leave of absence, and his brother ran the team. And it's because he was serving as the ambassador to the court of St. James, which is the ambassador to London and England. And you spend half your time drinking tea with the Queen.
I'd rather be in New York. Well, listen. If your team owner sucks as much as Shad Khan or Stephen Ross, you let us know in the comments. That's Barstool Units, episode 55. I'm Coach Doug's. Frank, please take us out.
See you next week. We'll have more interesting shows next week. Click like, subscribe, of course. Barstool Units, and keep in mind we're coming on the road. We're going to have a summer of travel, and we didn't mention the NCAA tournament too much, but go St. Peter's. Let's go Cox.
Let's go Peacocks.